Bryce, welcome to the SAINTCON hallway. It's always a pleasure to talk and speak with you. Hope all is well in the middle of this COVID awesomeness. Let's start with your hacker handle, Tweek Fawkes. Is this self-proclaimed, given, earned, other?
Well, I think it's like, I don't know if you call it earned, but like maybe more like it's definitely given, right? So, yeah, you know, I just worked a few jobs back in the day, and it seemed like every time I'd work a job, the coworkers would give me the same nickname, like Tweek, because they think I look like that guy from South Park, the Tweek guy, right? You know, the guy with blonde hair,
yeah,
like was always askew. And I don't know where they got that idea from, because that guy's totally different than me.
Was it all the Red Bulls and rock stars?
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty accurate. And then I was just like, well, I got to pick something that's like kind of slightly unique. I was like, well, I'll just pick like Fawkes, because it's like, you know, the Guy Fawkes guy or whatever, right? So that's how you get Tweek Fawkes.
Nice. I didn't even know that. That's great. It's a good story.
Yeah, I tried to shake it. Like I switched jobs from like Virginia to Maryland. I'm like, I'm not gonna bring that up.
And they're like what's up, Tweek? What's up, Tweek?
I was like, I guess it's just stuck with me. And then you build enough of like friends, it's like, yeah, that's never going away, right?
That's never, yeah, that's just earned and stuck now. Awesome. Yeah. That's a good story. How did you, I do know some of this, but this is open and you can stare however you want. How did you get into InfoSec besides being 2 years old and pwning stuff?
Yeah, no, I don't think I was two, right? I think I was like in elementary school, and you know, my dad had a computer. It was not good. I think it was like a you know, maybe like 286, 386, something like that, you know. And then I remember when we got like 486, I was like stoked because it had that turbo button on it. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
that actually goes slower. But yeah,
but it tells me it's going faster. So yeah, I just kind of got into, I was back in the days of like AOL and whatnot. So those kind of like old school. So I just got into AOL and like kind of learning everything I could about how the operating system worked, and also about how, I don't know, yeah, dial-up internet connections worked and whatnot. And you know, I wanted to kind of like build my own computer so I could play video games. I don't remember if this is, I'm probably like messing up all the dates, but in my mind, this was like when CS was like first coming out, Counter-Strike, right? So I was like trying to convince my dad that, you know, we need to get me my own PC, you know, which like he was not on board with, right? So like I try and go to those, Orange County, I grew up in Southern California, and they had a bunch of those computer shows, right? Where like you go around like buy parts and supposedly cheaper than, you know, your average like, you know, boutique shop. So I was going around in one of those like computer shows one day, and it was probably when I was in like sixth grade, and they had like a vendor that was just selling CDs, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like going through all the software CDs to see if I could pick up any games real cheap. And this dude had like a collection of like 5 CDs, and the CDs were like hacking and had like the skulls on it, and was like a list of like applications, and like one of them was like AOL hacking progs. I was like, I gotta get this. And I look around and my dad's not looking. I'm like, slip the guy money, and he gives me the hacking CDs.
How much was the hacking CDs?
I don't know, like $5, maybe less. I mean, I think the guy was just trying to get rid of them. And when I got home, I was like, dude, this stuff is garbage. I was like, it doesn't work. Like, it's not.
Why are all these command prompts popping up?
Yeah, I know. My dad's PC is like getting train wrecked as I'm trying to figure out how these hacking applications work. Just totally train wrecked. And it honestly gets to the point where the PC is just literally unusable. And my dad just gets furious one Saturday morning when he's trying to do something work related, right, on this PC that's probably horribly infected at this point, right? And he just comes in the room and he throws the computer on like my bed. He was like, that's yours now. I'm gonna go build another one. Don't ever touch my computer again.
So
he's like, by the way, you have to fix it.
So good job to the hacking guy in SoCal getting you your first PC.
Yeah, no, that's a win-win. I was like, okay, sweet. So I figured out how to actually reformat the computer and tried to, I don't know, get up running with some video games. This probably predates Counter-Strike, but I did play quite a bit of that in high school. And so I remember there used to be some like cheesy Commander King games I'd play and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of it. And then honestly, I wasn't super happy. Like none of those I felt like I got ripped off. None of those hacking apps like actually worked as advertised.
No,
believe it or not,
they did.
And then I was
it was very descriptive of what it did, and it did work.
It wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
So that kind of like led me down that path of like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to like figure out how to, I don't know, make my own, right? And so I tried to make friends with people on AOL chat rooms that were shady, and eventually I got around to like people taught me like a little bit about Delphi programming and stuff like that. And,
Delphi 32.
Dude, I don't know. Still the best.
So every time I do a video chat, or even like when we did B-Sides Virtual, like I thought at first your background was a virtual background, but it's the same every time, and it's the lighting on it is that's a real background. You got like a real professional background there?
Yeah, this is an accent wall, right?
Oh, an accent wall. I don't have those.
Yeah. Apparently I have one, and I have to go to it when I need to escape kids. So,
kids, leave me alone. Go to the accent wall.
That's right. It's like double fortified, so if they try and breach, there's no way they're coming through. No way.
Not unless they buy a hacking CD.
Hey, then it's all downhill from there, man. So you don't know. Those hacking CDs. Yeah. Infinite potential.
So if your kids right now say, I want a computer, do you give them one, or do they got to go get their own hacking CD to get one?
I mean, I don't know. Those are tough questions in life, man. So, I mean, I feel like they got to earn it, That means hacking CD. You got to earn it. Life's not going to give you anything. You got to go get it.
You got to pay some guy in some sort of a drive-in movie theater lot $5 to give you it.
When your parents aren't looking. Yeah. Like I remember explicitly looking around to make sure my dad wasn't looking. I was like, oh no, he's way down there. It's like, I'm good.
What's the first SAINTCON you ever went to?
I think it was 2014. It was north of Salt Lake, Weber, right?
Yeah, Weber.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, so I don't think I've been around as long as some of the other guys. They're like in the SAINTCON crew, but
I wasn't either. So we decided that it starts the moment we're about the same time. So that's when it started. Before that, it wasn't a thing. So
yeah, I did. Ironically, like way back in the day when I was in college, I did randomly stop by and visit Troy Jessup and at his work because I had a buddy that was working for him, and I was driving down to like DEF CON at the time, right? So that was the first time I ever met Troy, but it wasn't until years later that I actually went to the first SAINTCON. And I mean, SAINTCON, the coolest part about it for me, it was like definitely the badge, right? Like you showed up, you got this badge, and it wasn't like the other conferences I've been to where it's like, here's a pretty thing to put around your neck. They're like, grab a soldering iron and get to work, you know? So
like, we're nonprofit. We don't got money for this. You're gonna have to assemble it yourself.
I actually thought that was pretty cool because I didn't, I'm due to my, as you might not know, but one of the things about being Tweek-like is my hand's not really the steadiest. So soldering is not really my like strong suit by far. So I didn't really spend a lot of time on it prior to that. But over the years, I've gotten better, especially as
you're staring at the soldering iron or at the Rockstar, and you're like, no, this one.
Yeah, well, my hands are like even right. That's okay, right? That's pretty steady.
Steady check.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm actually pretty good at soldering. I mean, not like in the group of people I knew before SAINTCON, maybe the best person I knew at soldering. And then you meet real people who know how to solder, like they're doing those solder challenges, and I'm like, nope, apparently I'm not that good at soldering because some of those guys are very good at soldering.
Yeah, I'm not that legit, dude. So I Yeah, I wish, but
So
I got a good soldering story. Are we just doing stories?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, do
actually doing
it.
questions?
You got a story? Do it. Shoot it.
Yeah, yeah. I was in college. Did you know this from my prior statement that I just said? And when I was there, I was roommates with a buddy, and we got ourselves into a little bit of a pickle where, like, I'd half flashed a chip on a board, and we were trying to like finish this flashing. So in our infinite wisdom, we decided the best thing to do was to solder this thing live, right? Like boot this thing up
while it's running,
get past certain checkpoints, then do the solder, and then continue the flashing of the chip. That doesn't work so well. Apparently, I learned
what that
giant spark,
that sweet electronic smell. Yeah.
We broke the circuit breaker to the whole apartment complex and got hit in the eyeball with a
what?
Electric thing. Spark. That was the first time I saw a real spark, like floating in the air. It's like,
so what you're saying
I have really
is
good eyesight.
You're a half robot now, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I wish. I'm a Cylon, just walking around. Pretty sure.
That's what I think too. I would second that. I have a recent solder story you just reminded me of. Nowhere near that, but like a cousin's iPad broke something, and somehow they'd helped with some rocking chair. Her husband's a carpenter. Anyway, we did a trade. I'm gonna fix her iPad for a cracked screen for this work on a rocking chair, and I take it apart. I have it all done. Solder in. There's pretty small digits. Get it all soldered. Boot it up, have it booted up, see the screen come on, cool. So I just have to close it, right? And then my wife comes downstairs and she's like, what is this? I'm like, don't touch that, it's hot. And she grabs the heat gun and throws the heat gun because, it's a heat gun that was just used. And the cord of it grabbed the part of the iPad and ripped out the entire solder job I just did with, like, we're talking the nerdy ones, like, 2 clips, a visor down with 3 magnifying glass, like tiny solder, ripped it all out. And I just called my cousin. I'm like, I'll give you $200 or $300. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, sometimes things just don't go according to plan. I don't know. It's outside your control.
No.
It was a solid plan.
And it's my fault that something that says caution hot was hot, It's my
fault. I've learned all things. Yeah. You're the umbrella, you just open it, stop all the rain from coming down. So.
Oh, I thought it was the other way. I'm the reverse umbrella where I just catch all of it.
Yeah. That could be either way. So.
B-Sides Salt Lake, this is a thing. I mean, take out COVID. I don't want to talk about this year about even SAINTCON or B-Sides or DEF CON or anything. But previous years, it's a thing you run. How many hours, time, and effort do you put into B-Sides Salt Lake?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't keep track, but a lot, right? I pretty much just assume when J1 hits that I'm pretty much spending every night on B-Sides, right? So, and B-Sides is usually, like March-ish timeframe. So, it's every night for at least 3 months straight. And then there's planning prior to that in addition. So, and it's not just me. I mean, there's a lot of people, especially with electronic badges. And honestly, there's just the one thing I did not realize with running an event is there's so much work to be done that is so unglamorous, right? And so, like, as far as logistics, coordination, like trying to communicate, and yeah, I mean, I appreciated people who ran conferences before taking over the B-Sides game, B-Sides Salt Lake City conference, but I now like really comprehend the pain that these guys go through, and really, really grateful. I couldn't imagine being like running DEF CON or something like that. I feel like that would be insurmountable. And really appreciate it for everyone's support. I know the last year or 9 months has been pretty rough on the B-Sides community.
We don't want to talk about that. We're not talking about COVID.
I'm not going to talk about
it. Screw COVID.
But I really like. I know we didn't really talk about this, but. There's a lot of people that helped me get to where I am today. And really my goal with the BSidesSLC conference and a lot of other things that I'm trying to do in my life right now is to help give back to people in the community and help pull the community up. And I know, there's a lot of logistics, there's a lot of issues, and it's hard to make everybody happy all the time, but I really am committed to trying to help enrich the cybersecurity community, pull more people into it here in Utah and throughout the US and throughout the world, and help people in their careers get to where they want to go. So, that's why I put those hours in, is because I'm trying to make things better, right? And also just trying to, I feel like there's a lot of people that helped me get to where I'm at. So I'm trying to, give back and help some people get to, further where they want to go to.
Well, I think you're doing a great job. It's the reason I can fully support BSidesSLC. I love it. I'm happy to help any way I can there, because it's truly a labor of love. And I think you're doing exactly all the things you said you're trying to do. I've seen it in your actions, lifting people up and helping them. So I think you can say in progress, because it's like security. There's not a single checkbox, but it is absolutely happening. So you're wrecking it, man. So I know that you are a destroyer of worlds on the OffSec security side. If you had to pick a single offensive tool, what would it be?
I don't know. This is obviously like super biased, but I freaking love the tool that Wayland developed called Voodoo, right? And it's our cross-platform red team toolkit. And it really allows us to evade tools that, get other red teams caught, specifically like EDR tools. That could be like as simple as like an OS query type installation, or could be more complex. And the other cool part is it was built from the ground up to chain your accesses across multiple points. So you can chain from Windows, Mac, Linux, and our record is like over 15 hops deep into target networks.
Wow.
And you can just have one beachhead beaconing out to the internet, and then you can have all these accesses inside ready to go.
That's awesome.
And really, I don't, it's all Wayland and his magic on that stuff. But we do, I've taught a couple times, like a one-day crash course on it, and taught it to some of the San Bernardino students, because I know the professor that runs the cybersecurity program out there, and to some others. And it's just cool to see people's faces when they realize like, hey, I can that look of like a college kid's face when he realizes like, I can be on the internet and I can get into like a SCADA network, right? That's never supposed to talk to the internet,
right,
by pivoting through different boxes, right? As pen testers or red teamers, you're like, yeah, whatever, we do that all the time, right? But to see someone's like fresh face and them to realize, and slightly see the terror on their face when they realize like the feebleness of our entire like cybersecurity and information technology ecosystems. I like interfacing with people on that level, because it kind of helps me get rejuvenated. I think burnout is a real thing in the cybersecurity infosec community, right? We kind of do the same stuff, and we wake up every morning and we just kind of get into a routine, and we're like, okay, phone system, right? And but then when you actually step back and you see somebody who's never seen it before, they're like, this is crazy, Right. I was like, you start thinking about it in the perspective of the global, you're like, this really is crazy, man. I'm like, people are interconnecting everything.
Right.
And most of it not secure, man. So I know we're going to get to a better state, as a society, as a security community, but I also know, that's not today, right? So we're going to have to make incremental progress on that over the next, several decades. So
yeah, similar. I think mine, if I had to pick one, would probably be Bloodhound.
Oh yeah.
And mainly it's a very similar to what you were saying, but I'm less of a destroyer of worlds than you. I'm more of a less of a Death Star, which is also a cool tool, but less of a Death Star and more of a single destroyer type of ship. I like it because it's the same thing. You tell somebody well, if I fish your one box, after you have that box, then what do I go after? Where do I go from there? And if you run it on their system, Bloodhound there, you can here's where all your cache credentials from your privileged users are. Here's your whole network. And the funny thing is, a lot of times they don't even know some of those computers exist. Right? They're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
How many? Wait, what? Where's that at? And you're like, that's in your privileged core crown jewels, right? Right? That's what you told me. I didn't. There's not that many servers there, and you're like, this is what your domain's enumerating. But I really think that's a cool tool. Nate Henney showed me that years ago, and still, even if you don't have like a ton of skill set, like you can spin that up, join it to a domain or a computer already joined to a domain, and you can just be like, here's what I want to attack. Here's where I take a beacon tool and I go for that computer and that computer type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
dude, I got to say, while we're on the subject, is dude, there's been some cool tools come out for the cloud space this 2020 year that specifically for Azure, right?
Throw them out, say them. Somebody can Google them and look at them. What are they?
Yeah, so specifically, Road Tools will do enumerate, like we'll do the Bloodhound equivalent, but for Azure Active Directory domains.
Nice.
So there's all this hidden data in Azure Active Directory domains, and Road Tools will enumerate that. And then even one step further,
I'm writing it down, but go ahead.
He wrote an integration. He did a fork of Bloodhound, so you can load up the Azure AD info inside an experience that looks and feels exactly like Bloodhound, and it does all the mappings just like Bloodhound does, but it's all Azure AD.
Awesome.
And the sick part is like maybe you get into an environment and they've locked down their internal infrastructure because they've seen red teamers before or whatever. Chances are high they got AD Connect going to Azure AD, and you just go hit it up that way. And so like I just, it's like a whole, it's like you finally get to the point where you feel like things are getting a little better in one space, and it's like, oh, hey, here's a bunch more features which have a bunch more attack surface.
Right.
So I didn't. There's a really good recording. He did a talk. Troopers was kind of canceled. I can't remember what happened there over in Europe. So he recorded it on Twitch, and it's linked off the GitHub on Road Tools and all that. So and anyone's welcome to hit me up on Twitter or Slack or whatever. And happy to
yeah. Speaking of that, if somebody wants to come talk to Bryce, but maybe is a little nervous because you're such a elite wizard of the world, and they maybe they're brand new, maybe they're first time to SAINTCON next year, and they heard of you and they've watched one of your talks or something, but they want to come talk to you. What's the inlet? Is it just come say hi? Is it I also like Rockstar drinks and tweak out? Is it I have a closet for over 1,000 Hawaiian shirts as well? Like what's
That's intimidating, man. 1,000 Hawaiian shirts.
Wait, how many? First, I have a side question. How many Hawaiian shirts do you have?
Enough to cover at least until laundry time. I mean, you got to at least cover the basics.
Like I did an interview with Marv, and he was telling me how many mechanical keyboards and cap spaces and inserts he had, and I'm like, that's how many Hawaiian shirts Bryce has.
I do like the Hawaiian shirts, right? I woke up this morning and I wrote down my things to do. It was like buy more Hawaiian shirts.
Really?
So,
really?
No, this is a real story. Yeah, I was like, because so here's the thing, right? Normally, like we're traveling, right? And I feel like I'm not the best pre-planner of practical stuff, especially like clothing. So I frequently, like I showed up to Denver once and realized I had no shirts. Like I literally just packed no shirts for whatever reason. I thought that was a good idea. So I like land at the airport, get to my hotel, and I'm like, well, guess I'm going shopping, right? So
and Denver had Hawaiian shirts?
You got to hunt, but there's a lot of stuff in downtown Denver.
If this story was like I landed in Santa Clara or Santa Barbara, like Hawaii, but like Denver.
You got
in the winter.
Man.
Was it in the winter too?
Yeah, it was pretty chilly. It was pretty chilly out, but I seceded, man.
So
that's not stopping me.
Did you have Hawaiian shirts before that, or was that the start of it?
That might have really been the turning point, because like this is like not a known fact, but there was a point where like I was wearing plaid every day, right? It was to the point where one guy had given me the nickname Plaid Ninja, and it was rightfully earned or given to me because I don't know, man, I was doing like a lot of computer stuff and I really had to have much sleep, right? So I showed up to work, and for whatever reason, I was wearing a plaid shirt, I was wearing plaid shorts, And then I had these like BC loafers on at the time that were also plaid. So I was wearing like 3 levels of plaid. And I honestly did not realize it until like the third person came over my desk and like just kind of stared at me and then like walked away. And I was like, why does everyone just keep coming over here and staring at me? And that's when I realized, I'm like, every article of clothing I'm wearing at this point is plaid.
So you go all plaid to not packing shirts to just all in on Hawaiian.
I mean, it was like a transition, but yeah, pretty much.
What's the next phase? I want to know. Where do we go?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll have to find out. I'm eager to find out as well. So it's not like I pre-planned this stuff. It just like slowly evolves over time. And then you wake up one morning, you're like, yeah, I guess my whole closet's Hawaiian shirts. That's it now. It's like I'm a Hawaiian shirt guy. Clothing is obviously not the most important thing to me. So.
I don't remember what my original question was. I had an original question, but this was a side tangent. Whatever. Don't matter. What is something else? What is something else people don't know about Bryce?
I think we talked a little, like, I like to play video games.
What's the video game? What's the jam right now? What's eating the time?
Dude, you know what? I try to play Smash Brothers, but my 10-year-old kid just keeps destroying me at that game, dude. She is ruthless at Smash Brothers.
I don't know what to tell you. My oldest is 11, and I still dominate them. So either your kids are better or I'm better.
Yeah. You're probably better in... I think she is seriously good at the game, but I like kind of feign when people come over, like, oh, I'm not really trying. But then I like actually try and I still lose. So like, I don't know what to do.
Weird side of that. Nintendo 64 Smash Bros. That was my jam. I was into that. Like Blockbuster, so this is dating me, but Blockbuster put on an event where the Nintendo trailer pulled up and they had a Smash Brother competition where all around the trailer was just 4 paddles. Maybe there was like, I don't know, 8 stations or something. I don't know what the number was, but you sat outside the trailer. Everybody had a paddle. I won the tournament for Smash Bros. 64.
What?
Like straight up. Now this was West Valley days, so I mean I don't know what that says.
Trophy on your desk.
Smash Bros. But when after that, like it started just with the Wii and all those that just taken off with Wii U and all. Like I tried playing at 801 Labs against some of those Smash Bros. Guys. I'm terrible. They are so good. It is like not even close. But I can beat my 11-year-olds. So.
Yeah. Well, okay. You're doing better than me. So you're crushing it. You're crushing it, Pope. So I'm yeah. I like playing video games. I think I've been guilty of playing some, JRPGs throughout the years. So I like playing those on airplanes specifically, right? It's a good time. You don't have internet, but yeah, I don't know, man. I gotta up my Smash Bros. Game. That's what I'm hearing from this conversation.
It's those new DLCs, man. There's new characters coming out all the time still. So, but they want $30 more for it, so you gotta pay that.
It's kind of like, it's just like a tax, right?
Yeah,
it's like tax.
So what I tell my kids on the DLC stuff is we go to the Wii Switch, not the Wii Switch, the Nintendo Switch menu that says how many hours have been played by game. And if it's not in the top 5, I'm not buying you any DLC stuff. But Smash Brothers is always number 1. And so they're like, we get the new characters? And I'm like, well, let's see how many hours you've logged. Oh, let's see, months of your life. Okay, that seems reasonable. And then we procure it.
Months of your life. Yeah. They're like, I could spend $5. Months of your life. She's like,
ship it.
Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Don't come smashing through the wall. Yeah. I think the other thing that sometimes throws people off is, my movie reviews aren't really in line with other people's movie reviews. Like, I tend to like movies that are just completely horrible, like Fast and Furious and stuff like that.
But it's all a mindset. If you go to Fast and Furious and like, I would like to see real physics in action, you're going to be disappointed, right?
I was like, come on, man. Vin Diesel, he could take down a helicopter. That's just science. I was like, it's The Rock, man. He can chase that thing.
But I mean, if you go with the mindset of, I just want to veg out and be entertained, they can be good, right? They can be good.
Yeah, that's just me. I like to, just kind of relax for an hour or two, right? So, and ridiculous movies help me relax, where, you know, like I'm not going to the movies to get deep thoughts going, right? So I'm doing that right now.
Deep thoughts. So when you were little and hacking away and that just went your whole life, did you ever think that this could be a career, or did you want to do something else? You're like, I'm going to be a hacker. Or what did you want to do? Like,
I told my parents, I was like, I'm a beach bum. That's it. I want to be at the beach. I was like, if you need anything, I'll be the homeless guy there. And
so then you said, I would instead trade that to live in Utah and wear Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah. I mean, this is an upgrade over my previous career of being unemployed. And right? That's like a little bit above, maybe.
There's a beach. There's a beach at the Salt Lake.
Dude, I honestly, when I was super, I was super into computers, like middle school, high school, and
by super into computers, you mean hacking all the things? But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Well, whatever. So I just, you know, I really didn't ever fathom a future where someone was going to pay me for that stuff, right? So I was just kind of going through, like, you know, autopilot in life, right? And you know, it wasn't until like I got farther along in college that my professor, I was taking some programming class, and he wrote like an FTP application, and we're supposed to like write the client side of it, right? And he gave us the source code to the server side. And I was like, oh, this is like, I was just looking at the source code. I was like, I could just do like a directory transversal and like read arbitrary files on because he was running on his like instructor owned server, right? I was like, I went and
grades.
Yeah, and I like went and told him, I was like, hey, I think this thing is like horribly vulnerable. He's like, well, I just cranked it out real quick. He's like, but if you're interested in that stuff, he's like, you know, there's like jobs you could get like after college that would pay you to do that. And I was like, for reals? He's like, yeah. And, like, he used to work at like IBM or whatever. He's like, yeah, we had like teams of people that review code and find vulnerabilities. He's like, you should check it out. And I was like, and that was, you know, that probably wasn't until year 2, 3 in college. And I was like, well, you know, this could be a thing, right? So
turning point, some guy planting some seeds.
Yeah. Me realizing like I
have a similar story, but I didn't tell my teachers, and now it's made me a crappy coder for the rest of my life. But I had a coding class in junior high, and it was like Dreamweaver 7 or something, like building, I don't whatever it was. And I realized I could directory traversal into the other students, not just our class, but other classes, past years, past semesters. So I was a little bit smart, and I went not to our semester, but the last semester, and I just copied their entire folder, put it into my folder, and then changed the name, updated some stuff. Because if we finished our assignments, we could go play Unreal Tournament, right? Like,
video games motivate you, man. You gotta get back to video games.
But instead of saying, hey, there's a vulnerability here, I just did it and then played video games. But now I still don't know how to code very well, so maybe it wasn't the best.
Well, I think it's obvious at this point that I'm just cherry picking the examples that make me seem like a good person.
Oh, Oh, my bad. Shoot, I botched that. Statute of limitations.
I'm not sure what the ratio of good to bad is, but
it's good. You're a good guy.
You're
good. What would you do if there wasn't InfoSec?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Like, I thought about that once before. I thought, no, I don't know. Like, is lockpicking in InfoSec? Maybe it'd be in the lockpicking.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm that good.
It's been around long before InfoSec, so I think even though we've adopted it, I think it's separate. Because locksmiths have been there forever. They were even before computers. So, like,
I mean, I definitely think I'd probably be in physical security in some way, shape, or form. So either that or espionage. So I feel like one of those two suits me pretty well.
Sanctioned or unsanctioned?
Either or, whatever. I mean, when I was growing up, I really did not think like this was a job. I just thought, I was screwing out with computers for fun, right? So, and, part of me really wishes I could go back to that time era, right? Where it's like, it's very carefree, right? It's the 80s, the 90s. You do whatever you want. You
can burst through walls and yell, oh yeah.
Yeah, Kool-Aid Man be coming through. You'd be, what was that like NetBIOS thing where like you would just message people?
Yeah, that was
like, there's like zero security everywhere you look, right?
Hey, man, I'm watching you, and you can see him in the computer over there. Yeah. Net send? Net send.
Yeah, net send. Yeah, that's it, man. The message would pop up. Like, I feel like, but it's like there's some things where like, okay, that was ridiculous. That should have probably never been a feature in a platform, or that vulnerability, like MS-08-67, just like lasted for so long. It was pretty ridiculous just because the patch management was horrible. But then there's like other things that like are still horrible today, right? Like you could buy like or build like a hardware keylogger back in the day, and it would be totally effective. And I feel like it probably 99% of the time probably be totally effective today.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, like, the new one MG just put out, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I feel like if anything, like we've gotten worse in that category, not better.
Yeah,
right?
because now, before you could look behind your keyboard and see the one weird thing. Now it's all weird things, and your entire motherboard is just loaded with every port has something in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and now all the devices are portable now, and everyone's working from home, and like, so it's like, yeah, we've gotten really better in some areas, but I feel like some things that totally worked back in the day, like totally still work today, right? So.
Right. Well, I want to be like Bryce when I grow up, so that's my career plan. I'm just gonna whatever. I'm gonna start buying Hawaiian shirts and just go all in, because you're just awesome, dude, and I would emulate you in however I can, because you're a freaking wizard at this stuff. So it's always a pleasure to chat with you. You have any Corona coaster projects you're working on, or anything in this weird time, or you're just still so slammed with entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I mean, I got a few things in the hopper. I don't think I'm really ready to talk about them, but
so that means you have to talk about them now. Sorry, go ahead. You can't give us a teaser like that. Like what? Just go ahead. You don't have to.
I mean, we expanded the Black Hat class from 2 days to 4 days, so that sucked up a lot of that sucked up a lot of my time this year. Right. So there's a lot of cool labs in there that we kind of go over at this point. So, and then honestly, I just feel like the whole cloud ecosystem, right? It's like it's hard to even become an expert on one cloud, and then you look at it and there's AWS, Azure, GCP, and then there's all these other kind of second tier cloud providers, and I feel like there's not a lot of attention being put there, and even if there is attention being put there, there's so many features being rolled into the platform.
I tried to separate a VPC locally from machine to machine, and I couldn't even get it to work.
It's a little tricky because everything on the surface looks the same, but then when you dig into each platform, it's totally different, right? So access controls all use the same words, but have very different meanings, right? Network setups there's some strategic advantages to GCP over AWS and Azure and vice versa, but I don't think one's better than the other. I just feel like, a lot of my research over the last year or two has been on cloud, and a lot of the future research is just going to remain cloud focused. And especially, the latest stuff I've been working on is more serverless shenanigans. Right. So
Lambda.
Yeah. And Lambda is so cool, like so cool. SAM templating
and cheap.
Pretty cool. It's cheap. Yeah, and very like effective for certain jobs, right?
Yeah.
I do think there's some use cases where it's not the right tool right now, but I do think as an industry we're all pushing towards containers, like right. a lot of software shops are. But I think after that push is over, serverless will be mature enough that everyone will push again to serverless, right? So because then you don't even have to maintain the images for the containers or the runtimes at all, right?
Right.
So
I
don't know. There's a lot in the cloud native space. I guess the latest things I've been working on is just, not super glamorous, but like red teaming and OPSEC type stuff, redirecting through various cloud services to blend in with traffic.
That is glamorous. I don't know that it gets me excited just hearing you say it, but I mean, this is your right audience, InfoSec.
Yeah. I mean, that's just more like, I don't know. That's not like, glamorous for me is like O-Day, you know what I mean? So like that stuff is like all the plumbing I do just to make sure we don't get caught, right? So it needs to be done, and we got to keep pushing the limit there. But I think everyone's super excited about like container breakouts or whatever, right? Time vulnerabilities. So
Well, APT Tweek Fawkes, pleasure to chat with you. Hope to see you in person whenever that makes sense. And thanks for visiting us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. All right, see you,
All
Pope.
right, peace.